Hi, my name is John Caniglia, and forgive me for wearing headphones, but it's the only way I can seem to get my microphone to work. Today, I would like to talk to you about sources. How many types of different sources are there, and what are the differences between the sources? Let's begin. The first type of a source, first of all, what is a source? A source is a person, a place, or a thing from which something comes from or can be obtained. A source of information, a source of nutrients, etc. The first type of source would be a primary source. Now, a primary source is usually first-hand testimony from people who were there when an event occurred. Primary sources can be original documents that were signed during a meeting of some sort. It can be a newspaper that a journalist reported on by people who witnessed the event or quote people who were there. So, when a crime is committed, the testimony of an eyewitness would be considered a primary source. They were there when it happened and witnessed it take place. These sources know without a doubt that the subject matter at hand is true. Statements told to the police have evidence and they back up the story. So, police statements can also be considered a primary source, along with whatever they relay to a reporter, and then that goes into the newspaper. The second type of source is known as a secondary source. Go figure. A secondary source is generally scholarly books or articles. A secondary source tells a story told to them by somebody else, or they're telling a story using primary sources as their source of information. These type of sources are at least one, sometimes more, steps removed from the actual event. When one is to do a report and they look up information that happened previously, they will cite their primary sources. Now, when their work is finished and published, it becomes what is known as a secondary source. Secondary source relies on other people's information to tell their story. The final type of source is a tertiary source. This would be the third. A tertiary source are sources that identify and locate primary and secondary sources in order to tell their story. These can include bibliographies, the index of a book, excuse me, encyclopedias are a tertiary source also. Now, the main difference between a secondary source and a primary source is that secondary sources will typically cite the primary source as their source of information, whereas a primary source gets the information straight from the horse's mouth, as you could say. So, those are the three types of sources and the differences between them. I hope I explained this good enough to where you guys can use this in your assignment. Thank you very much.